Have you ever had one of those moments? You're feeling tense, maybe a little scared, or completely worn out, then someone gives you a warm hug or says something soft and soothing. It feels like your whole nervous system just settles down. That feeling of being gently cared for, it's like medicine for the mind. It smooths out the wrinkles in our emotions. So, what about the animals around us? Say, a fluffy little chick with that sweet high-pitched chirp. Could they have similar emotional needs? When we reach out and stroke them with affection, when we murmur to them in a soft voice, can they actually feel that kindness? And from that kindness, do they get happiness or a deep sense of calm? For a long time, many of us have had this gut feeling talking to animals, petting them, seems to reduce their fear of us. It helps them thrive, even grow better. But really, it's always been more of an educated guess. We honestly couldn't say for sure. What does human gentleness actually mean inside those tiny little heads? Is it simply less scary, or does it become something genuinely wonderful? Something they experience as a true, heartfelt reward. Hello and welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Today's topic is a total gem. It explores that very question, one that seems so simple, but is actually so profound. Can gentle human interaction give a baby chick positive emotions? The answer matters for how we understand animal minds. It matters for how we treat them and for how we can make their lives better. After all, tens of billions of chickens are raised worldwide every year. The way we interact with them matters deeply. Even the tiniest shift could affect an enormous number of lives. Recently, a group of deeply curious scientists took on this question. Researchers from three universities designed an elegant experiment. They came from the Universidad Austral de Chile, from Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile, and from the University of Bristol Veterinary School in the UK. They wanted to know something. In the first days of life, will gentle treatment make chicks link a good feeling to a place? And will that make them love being there? The experiment sounds a bit technical, but at its heart, it's something we can all relate to. Let me share a little everyday analogy to help you understand the core idea. Picture this. When you were a kid, every Saturday afternoon, your dad took you to a neighborhood park. At that park, you'd fly kites and share an ice cream cone. You'd laugh and play, having the best time. Years later, walking past that park, wouldn't a warm, happy memory instantly come back? You'd feel, almost without thinking, that the park is a wonderful place. You'd want to go there. Now, flip it. Imagine every Saturday you went to a place for a dull tutoring session, or worse, to get a shot. How would you feel about that place? You'd probably avoid it like the plague. The experiment uses that very principle. In science, it's called a conditioned place preference test. In plain language, you help an animal associate a feeling with a location. Then you watch if they choose to spend more time there. This method is widely used in affective neuroscience, but it's rarely been applied to farm animals like baby chicks. The scientists designed a clever setup. They gathered 20-day-old Hy-Line W80 female chicks. These chicks were housed in a cozy, warm room with plenty of food and water. To keep the experiment clean, 3 caretakers in different colored coats took care of them. But only one person performed the crucial interaction sessions. She was a female experimenter in a green coat. The core of the experiment was a rectangular wooden arena. It was divided into three sections. In the middle was a white starting box. On either side were two compartments, identical in size. The only difference was color. One was orange, the other blue. Those colors weren't random. Neither color was in the chick's home pen. Earlier research shows chickens can distinguish orange from blue. The front of the arena was a wire mesh screen. A chick inside could see the experimenter sitting outside. Each side compartment had a small door. It allowed the experimenter to reach in. The whole process unfolded like a carefully choreographed play. It took over a month and fell into 5 clear stages. The first stage was getting the chicks used to their environment and handling. This took about 8 days. From day 4 onward, the experimenter in green gently placed them in groups of 5 into a cardboard box. This happened once a day for 5 minutes. This way, moving wouldn't startle them later. The second stage was getting familiar with the test arena. This lasted 9 days. At first, they explored in small groups, then in pairs. In the last 2 days, each chick went in alone. Every day, they spent 5 minutes in one colored compartment. They took turns in the orange and blue rooms. This made the space completely familiar. It prevented novelty from skewing the results. The third stage was the critical first step, a baseline preference test. For 2 days, each chick was placed alone in the starting box. Then both side doors opened at once. They had 300 seconds to roam between the orange and blue rooms. That is 5 full minutes. Overhead cameras recorded exactly how long each chick spent in each room. They also recorded which room each chick entered first. And guess what? The chicks showed a clear natural preference right off the bat. They really liked the orange room. On average, they spent over 41% of their time there. The blue room got less than 19%. On the first test day, 83% of chicks went straight for the orange room. This finding was huge. It proved that chicks aren't random in their choices. They have their own taste, their own innate tendencies. Now, the real show was about to begin. Stage 4. 12 days of conditioning. This was the gentlest part of the experiment. It was the very heart of it. To account for the natural love of orange, the scientists made a rigorous design choice. They ranked the 20 chicks by their preference for the orange room. Then they split them into 2 equal groups. For half the chicks, the good stuff would happen in the orange room. For the other half, the good stuff would happen in the blue room. This ensured the result came from the experience, not the color itself. The training began. Each chick visited one room per day for 5 minutes. They alternated rooms daily. What happened in the gentle interaction room? The experimenter sat in front of the box. She opened the little door and slowly reached her hand inside. She kept her head at the chick's height. Then she made eye contact and softly stroked the chick's body repeatedly. She spoke in Spanish with a warm, positive tone. This was a full-blown, kind and caring, multi-sensory interaction. In the neutral control room, things were completely different. The experimenter still sat there for 5 minutes, but she stayed perfectly still, head down, avoiding eye contact, the little door stayed closed. She was simply a human-shaped, silent, emotionally blank piece of the background. Can you picture those two scenes? On one side, warmth, soft strokes, gentle murmurs, a sense of connection. On the other, total silence and stillness. The scientists compared whether gentle interaction could add extra emotional value, beyond just having a human there. Over those 6 gentle interaction sessions, something really moving happened. On day 1, 68% of chicks calmly accepted the stroking. That's 13 out of 20. They didn't try to avoid it. By the last session, that number soared to 95%. 18 chicks showed complete acceptance, and something even more amazing took place. During the very first stroking session, only one chick fell asleep. But day by day, by the last few sessions, nearly half the chicks drifted off. They were cozy and comfortable under the experimenter's gentle hand. The scientists analyzed the data. They found stroking acceptance and peaceful sleep increased significantly over time. This was incredibly telling. A tiny animal willing to close its eyes, relax, and sleep right in front of a potential predator. That is profound trust. That is a state of true ease. It goes way beyond not being afraid. It's clearly a feeling of comfort and pleasure. The scientists also recorded the chick's vocalizations. For a chick, calling out when alone is a distress signal. It's a cry for companions. The results were striking. In a gentle interaction room, chicks vocalized far less often than in the neutral room. All chicks called out less over time as they got used to being alone. But during stroking sessions, their calls stayed consistently lower. A kind human presence didn't just quiet them, it actively soothed them. It even partially substituted for other chicks. It gave them a feeling of safety and comfort. So, after 12 days of 2 very different worlds, had the chicks' internal scales shifted. Now came the 5th and final stage, the post-training preference test. It ran for 3 days. During these 3 days, the experimenter vanished. The chicks were once again placed alone into the start box. They faced the same 2 familiar rooms. One had been linked with gentle touch and soft words, the other with silent stillness. What would they choose? Here is what the data showed. Over 3 test days, time in the gentle room increased significantly. It went up from their original baseline preference. On average, they spent 16.54% more time in that room. That's not a tiny blip. That's a real, statistically meaningful shift in preference. And even more important, this shift held steady across all 3 test days. The scientists analyzed the 2 rooms separately. They found the extra time in the gentle room was a clear, significant increase. Time in the neutral room didn't significantly drop. What does that say? The effect came from chicks being drawn to the gentle room. They weren't trying to escape the neutral one. They weren't picking the lesser of 2 evils. They genuinely felt the place with good interactions was worth visiting. This finding beautifully answers the question we started with. Gentle human interaction isn't just not bad for chicks, it's a genuine reward. Just like a tasty treat or a pain reliever, it has positive emotional value. It can create positive learning and memories. It can actually change how they choose to behave. This small, rigorously designed study has opened a window for us, a window into the rich inner world of a tiny animal we often overlook. It shows that early gentle interactions may have a power beyond what we imagined. Why are first interactions so important? One reason may be the rapid development in newborn brains. Their nervous systems have immense plasticity. A positive experience during this time might leave a deeper imprint. It could shape how they perceive humans for a lifetime. If they first encounter kindness from us, they may carry more trust. They may feel closer to people their whole life instead of fear. Of course, the study has limits. It only used female Hy-Line W80 chicks. Would males or other breeds respond the same way? The gentle interaction combined soft touch, eye contact, and a warm voice. Which part had the most impact? Or do all three need to be present? Was it the comfort of touch, the visual connection, the soothing sounds, or the whole atmosphere of goodwill they created together? The researchers designed the interaction this way on purpose. They wanted to mirror the most natural, rich interactions we have in real life. Future studies might tease apart those elements and discover their individual magic. Even with open questions, the findings present a hopeful challenge. They challenge our current practices in animal farming and welfare. In modern farming, efficiency is king. Human-animal contact is often boiled down to routine tasks: feeding, cleaning, vaccinating, transporting. These procedures can be stressful. We often overlook the quality of the interaction itself, a rough or gentle movement, a silent or kind voice. These cost almost no extra time. Yet the animal's experience could be night and day. The long-term effects could be enormous. This research shows that gentle acts are not a waste of time. Things like a soft stroke or a warm voice, they might act like a key that turns on an animal's positive emotions. They make the animal feel pleasure and peace of mind. This improves their psychological well-being and helps them live better. The positive emotional state might also improve physical health. Think lower stress hormones and a stronger immune system. This can lead to more stable productivity. Can you imagine if farming guidelines added something simple? Encouraging caregivers to spend a few minutes daily with chicks, talking and softly stroking them. A simple, low-cost practice could bring a fundamental improvement in animal welfare. We wouldn't just prevent suffering, we'd actively strive to give them a good life. Maybe even happiness. Next time you see fluffy, chirping little chicks, maybe something will shift in your heart. They're not simple, instinct-driven machines. They're beings who perceive emotions and form memories. They can tell kindness from indifference. A tender gesture for us might be a fleeting moment of good intention. But for them, it could be the brightest, most comforting moment of their day. A lovely memory they revisit again and again. That may be the warmest truth science can offer. Using rational data and rigorous logic, it paints us a more feeling, empathic world, a world grounded in respect. It reminds us gentleness is a language across species. It can touch a heart and bring real happiness, and every one of us can be a bearer of that happiness. All right, that's the story of chicks and gentleness for today. I hope this research has touched you and given you something to think about. Until next time.